Hello and welcome to another Zach Carnage video, and today we are continuing with our meta talks, and this time we're moving on to ABCs. So this is a deck which isn't fully built yet. The archetype needs the actual ABC cards, so that's A Assault Core, B Buster Drake, and C Crush Wyvern, as well as ABC Dragon Buster. This is Kaiba support, essentially, based on the old XYZ series, which then, of course, had its extension with V and W, etc. in the GX series. So this is really interesting because these are cards that we saw in the original movie. I'm not sure that they'll be appearing in the Dark Side of Dimensions movie, but they'll be coming out in the Kaiba reloaded structure deck that we'll be getting later this year in the TCG. So we've already seen that this deck is doing really well in the OCG. It's definitely one of the top 4 decks of the coming format, which is why we're discussing it. The only other thing to talk about after this is DDDs. So there'll be a separate video on that, but you can also check out the Blue Eyes White Dragon stuff, as well as the Metal Foes Meta Talks. These are just videos giving you basic information on what the deck includes, some of the key cards for it, and some idea of the sort of tactics that they use. So the first cards that we should mention for this deck are obviously the A, B, and C themselves, as well as the ABC fusion that they make. So each of these monsters is a level 4 machine, light union, and it's an effect monster. They all of the little guys protect some other machine monster that they can equip to from destruction by battle or by card effect. But in addition to that, they can special summon themselves if they're equipped as a union card, or instead they'll be able to give additional protection. But that depends on which card you're looking at. So A Assault Core, which is the one that's based on the Metal Tank, I think it's Z Metal Tank, something like that. So this is A Assault Core now. Protects your monster that it's equipped to from monster effects, as well as the destruction by battle or card effect. B Buster Drake will protect your monster from spell effects, and Crush Wyvern will protect your monster from traps. So it's pretty basic, just monster, spell, and trap. A Assault Core is probably the best because monster effects are the ones most likely to hit you. But Buster Drake can be pretty useful as well, and obviously Crush Wyvern gets you around things like Solemn Strike, which is pretty nice. So these 3 Light Machine Union monsters all combine to make the ABC Dragon Buster, at least that's what we think it's going to be called. In order to summon it, you actually have to banish them from your field or from your graveyard, which is really impressive because it means you could just send them to the grave with Foolish Burial or all sorts of different tactics, including Transmodify, which we'll look at a bit later. And then banish them from the grave to make your ABC Dragon Buster. During your opponent's turn, you can banish the ABC from your field to bring back the individual monsters. It doesn't actually have to be those ones. I'm pretty sure it's just level 4 light machines with different names, but you can review on the card text. In addition to that, during either player's turn, you can discard a card in order to banish a card from your opponent's side of the field. So this card is really quite impressive in that you summon it essentially for free because you're probably going to be banishing stuff from your grave to summon it. And then you can get all of that stuff back by just banishing the ABC itself during your opponent's turn, and then set up for some really nice rank 4 plays following that. So in addition to the core section of the archetype, you're going to be playing a lot of other very interesting tech choices that we've been seeing crop up in the OCG. One of the most important ones that we have seen is Galaxy Soldier. This is essentially your way to make Cyber Dragon Infinity with the least trouble. So you can summon this guy by discarding a light monster from your hand, and when it's special summoned by any means, you'll be able to add another Galaxy monster from your deck to your hand. So normally you'd go for another Galaxy Soldier, summon that out, and then you make your CDI, which is pretty impressive considering it requires basically just one Galaxy Soldier and a discard target, and well, another discard target if you're summoning the second one the same way. But a better way to bring this out is probably, if it's in the deck, you can use Transmodify. Just take one of your one of the ABC monsters. They're all light machine, as is Galaxy Soldier. You summon it out, use Transmodify to send it to the grave, and summon out the Galaxy Soldier from deck, which will then trigger, and then search your second one, and then you can summon that, probably discarding another of the ABC archetype. So you've already loaded up your grave with, say, A and B, and then you've got a CDI on board, so you just need that third one, and you'll instantly be able to make a Cyber Dragon Infinity and an ABC Buster Dragon, ABC Dragon Buster in a single turn, which is pretty impressive. One of the other important cards for the archetype is their field spell, Union Hanger. When this card is activated, you'll be able to search any of the ABC monsters from your main deck. And then in addition to that, once per turn, if you normal or special summon any of them, you'll be able to equip a different one from your deck to it. But you won't be able to special summon that card this turn. That's not so much of a problem. Basically what you can do is activate the Union Hanger, search for any of them, summon one of them, let's say you summon A, you could then use Union Hanger to equip B to it, use a Transmodify to send those two to the grave, summon out a Galaxy Soldier from deck, Galaxy Soldier adds another Galaxy Soldier, discard the third one, which you now have in your hand, in order to summon the second Galaxy Soldier, make a CDI with those two, and then you've got A, B, and C in the grave, banish them all, and make an ABC Dragon Buster instantly. So that's a pretty impressive board because you'll be able to banish something during either player's turn, and you'll be able to negate any effect once per turn. Two other useful cards for the deck are Gold and Silver Gadget. These guys can summon another level 4 machine type monster when they are summoned to the field, which is pretty impressive for making really simple, very easily accessed rank 4s like Giga and X for extra searching. In addition to that, if either of these guys is destroyed by battle or card effect, you can special summon a different gadget from your deck. So gold can go into silver, silver can go into gold. But essentially this allows you to put any of your A, B, and C onto the board faster, and you don't really care too much if they're wasted as a material because they go to the grave, and then from the grave they can be banished still to make the ABC Dragon Buster. Other notable support options include Unexpected Die with the Angel Trumpeter. So this allows you to make your Synchro level 8s much easier, just summoning the Angel Trumpeter from deck, and then instantly you have level 8 Synchro access with any of your ABC monsters or any of your gadgets. Insta-fusion is another possibility because a lot of your stuff is going to be going to grave as materials, and this deck really likes making rank 4s in addition to the CDI and the ABC Dragon Buster. So those are really the main things that you want to go for. Level 8 Synchros, CDI, Dragon Buster, and rank 4s. Because so many cards in the deck are light attributed, Honest is a viable option. The only problems that it can be involved in is that first of all, it's not a machine-type monster, it is, of course, a fairy, so that means that you're not going to be able to summon it so easily if you do decide to use it for a rank 4, but then just using it as a discard outlet for that extra damage can be really useful, and your opponent is unlikely to see it coming because it didn't feature in many of the OCG decks, but it did feature in a few of the ones that topped. ABCs are probably one of the simplest decks coming up in the new format. Blue Eyes can be relatively simple, but then ABC is mainly just focusing on the combos that I've already mentioned. So there's really not that much else to the deck, although you can include a few other different engines. We've seen Lithium 2300 include things like the Karakuri engine, which is really impressive once it gets going. So it just needs that little bit of extra help to get going. You can always improve consistency by putting in draw cards, pluses like Pot of Desires if you want. The only thing to watch out for with that is if you accidentally banish all of your A's and then suddenly you don't have access to ABC. But in a case like that, you can always just go for rank 4 plays instead. So you don't really tend to run out of options if you play Desires in this deck. There are also plenty of spaces open for you to put in counter traps like Solemn Strike, Solemn Warning, even Scolding if you feel like it. So there's really a lot of options available to this deck, and you can really just sort of go with what you want. If you're looking for options to play against this deck, well, a few of the important things to note. You're going to want to banish stuff from their graveyard, so Ally of Justice Cycle Reader or DD Crow are really useful for this. System Down is fairly good, although they'll often just respond to it. You really sort of need stuff that has a spell speed of 2 or higher to sort of counter this deck as best you can, but then there are a few options every now and again to deal with things like this. Lava Golem and Gamma Seal can be really useful to take out the CDI or to take out both the CDI and the ABC instantly, and that can really put you in a winning position if they've invested so much effort into just putting 2 monsters on board and say you have 1 Lava Golem and take them both out. Thanks for watching this video. If you have any comments or suggestions that you would like to make, feel free to leave those in the comment section down below. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe, and stay tuned to see the discussion on DDD. We'll be going a little bit more in depth than in this video because, as you've seen, we haven't really talked about combos that much, whereas in DDD they're a lot more important. There'll also be deck profiles coming up in the future. I've got my Blue Eyes Fun deck to come up for you. And I might even do an ABC pre-release deck build just to see how things are going with that. So thanks for watching this video, and I'll see you guys in the next one.